War Eagle War Rapport family, I'm your host C-Dub, and today we review Auburn's tough road loss to Florida on yesterday. We'll break that game down and talk about what this means for Auburn moving forward towards the end of the regular season. We'll also discuss what else we saw and an interesting photo of our current head football coach, Brian Harson. So more on that, guys. But for now, sit back, get your weight up, because your weekend tailgate begins now.
You are now listening to a War Rapport Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by University Ace Hardware. It's your boy, I Jones. Be Will. C-Dog. Mike G. Get ready. Sit on back as we bring you the War Rapport Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, happy Sunday. And I hate that. Happy Sunday, everyone.
That was scary.
I'm joined by Mike G and Ike Jones. This is the Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by our show sponsor, University Ace Hardware, guys. For your hardware needs, Ace is the place. And as always, we appreciate you guys supporting our show. But a great way to support us is to support our sponsors. So if you ever find yourself in the Auburn area, please be sure to stop by 2101 East University Drive. Drop in and let them know that the War Rapport sent you. Also, guys, do us a favor. If you're watching live or on replay, you know what to do. If you're on social media, share this video. Use hashtag Get Your Weight Up and help people find our content. Let's grow our community. Now, speaking of growing the community, you need to become a patron if you're not already. Mike G is here to tell you all about that. Mike G.
Hey, listen, become a patron. Take a look at our little chart here. Got $3.99 on the left, $5.99 on the right. You can hit either one of those. So just go to our YouTube front page, hit the join button, and you'll see these options. Guys, this is a great way to support our content and what we're doing here at the War Rapport. So January to July, working hard to keep you guys engaged. That includes bringing you custom content as well as exclusive stuff. So become a patron, help support what we're doing here. We appreciate everybody who's going to do this. This helps keep us viable. We are full-time content creators with part-time hours. So that's really hard. And the more of you guys that join up, the more we'll be able to do this more full-time. We are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a good cause. Help us help them. Hashtag save all the puppies by going to the About section of our YouTube channel. Click the link to donate. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them to help them. Hashtag save all the puppies. We love the Lee County Humane Society. They're a great part of the Auburn community. So help us help keep them viable. We're giving away something as per usual. Every live stream, we give something away. Today, it's a Lobtown hoodie. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments. This is sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That's our guy, Walt Taylor, in the comments for all your restaurant consulting needs. Check out GWT2Energy.com. But he's been sponsoring these live streams pretty much for the whole time we've been live streaming. So we appreciate Walt. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments. At the 1 hour mark, we're going to pull, but you got to be here to win. So hashtag Get Your Weight Up. Be here in an hour when we pull for this. Special shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Visit prizepicks.com. Use code Rapport to get 100% deposit bonus for your first time sign up. This is a fun way to kind of engage with the game and make a little money. So we put out a segment before every basketball game where Ike takes you guys through the picks. If this is your first time doing it, it's pretty much a tutorial on how to do this. So it's lots of fun. I like watching it, and I like winning money. You should like winning money too. prizepicks.com. Join up today. If you don't win the raffle, guys, you can just visit our merch store and support us this way. The warrapport.com will take you right there. Hit the catalog button. Check out all the fly merch that we've got in there. And last but not least, we're on podcast. So check us out on every single podcast platform. The War Rapport is dropping some more content in audio form. We're going to be bringing you guys some exclusive content in that arena as well. Lots of stuff going on at the War Rapport.
Yeah, we actually just did our first exclusive pod Friday. Was that Friday?
Oh yeah,
me and P Wheels thing dropped. So listen, man, we're getting to it, and Patron people, I've been promising basketball content. I've got some dropping this week for y'all. So yeah, we're getting to that patron. So be on the lookout. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to drop my first one. I'm going to try to drop a couple of them this week because I have been letting y'all down on these film breakdowns. So I'm going to try to do a couple this week to get them out there and let you guys see. They'll be short, sweet, to the point. But yeah.
Film breaker downer guy is back at you.
Mm.
This time talking about b-ball. So speaking of b-ball, bit of a disappointing game yesterday. Auburn falls short just 1 point on the road to a very desperate, scrappy Florida team that had a lot to play for in that game. Auburn drops, of course, to 24-3 overall record. Auburn is also 10-2 in the conference. Auburn is now 1 game ahead of Kentucky in the SEC race, which makes these upcoming games very critical moving forward. Let's talk about the good in this game. One of the good points in this game is Jabari Smith, who basically scored 28 points who also was the player of the game that you guys voted on against Vandy. He followed up his career high with 28 points in this game, 7 boards, had 1 assist, which was a beautiful dime off a double team to Kessler down low. Had an amazing game. Let's talk about him because it appears as though he's beginning to kind of look like that first round pick that a lot of people are hyping him up to be. Mike G, what are your thoughts? And let's just stick with Jabari in terms of his performance in this game. How do you feel about Jabari and how he did?
Listen, Jabari 7 for 16, right? 4 for 5 from 3-pointer. He's starting to heat up from the outside here. And he's being more aggressive in taking those shots. 10 of 11 on free throws, 28 points. Ooh, man. He played 33 minutes. So he had more minutes than anybody. He played more minutes than anybody in this game. At some point, you got to let star players do what they can do. Now, he carried us in this game because I want to stress, without him and Kessler, this would have been Auburn finished just at 40% in field goal percentage. And in the previous 4 or 5 games, we've been well below 40%. So the shooting woes have continued, as particularly in the first half. And Jabari Smith has been kind of a bright spot in a lot of this. I thought he had a great performance. We're starting to lean on him a little bit more. Bruce Pearl is intent on playing these like deep 10-man rotations. And Jabari's an unselfish player, so he probably gives the ball up a little more than he should. He did take his shots in this game. I mean, 16 shot attempts. The next closest person had 10, and that was Wendell Green.
Yeah.
So, he's taking his shots. It's not like, it's just
more on that later.
Yeah, he's taking his shots, but he was the bright spot in all this, man. I'm excited about his 3-point shooting down the stretch. That's a weapon to have, a guy who could just raise up over a guy and hit a contested 3. He also can catch and shoot in rhythm. I'm starting to see a lot of that, more of that, where he just catches right on the spot and then just pulls up, makes that decision, shoots it confidently, and hits it. 7 rebound. He rebounded well in this game. This was a really good performance from Jabari Smith.
And James Barnett, appreciate you, man. He corrected me in saying we're 12-2 in SEC play. I said 10-2. So thanks for that correction there. I talk about the fact that Jabari is really starting to come on really strong. I think I saw a graphic during the game where he was averaging 19.5 points the last few games going into the contest and scored 28 here. So he's really starting to come on in terms of what we're seeing him. We knew he had this ability, but of course he was playing within the offense, to Mike G's point, not taking over the game, but playing with his team. Talk about how important it is going into March to see Jabari beginning to kind of come into his own.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what we have been talking about for a while. The shots that he's getting, I don't think are new or unique opportunities. He's had those the entire season. I think he's gotten more confidence in taking a couple of those shots that are contested off the dribble. I think we're seeing a lot more of his his post game on display now, right? Like he was, 3-point shooting. Everybody knew he could shoot the ball, right? The one step or the one dribble pull up, he's had that the entire season. I think where you're seeing the difference of him going to more is them getting the high post, touches for him, and he's not passing out of that unless there's a double team coming, right? And so he's just going to work at the high post and making them have to account for him every time he's on the floor, which is what we need. We need someone who we can just give the ball to and him go get a bucket. You would have liked to have seen something different in that late game scenario, but 7 seconds, it's hard to get Jabari into that action. So we'll talk more about the end of the game scenario, but Jabari Smith himself, I think he's more confident in what he's able to do. And I think what I would like to see is early in the game when we're struggling offensively early, like start the game off with Jabari. Like let's run the offense through him initially, see how they intend to play him, because they're going to try to double from and see, all right, cool. If we're getting him in the high post set here, this is where the double team is coming from. This is who's going to be doubling, just so we know when we get into those late game scenarios, how those doubles are coming. There's a clip where, and this is about Michael Jordan. So I'm not comparing Jabari Smith to Michael Jordan, but what I am saying is there's a clip of Michael Jordan where they're playing a game in the finals against the Utah Jazz, right? And it's the play where he makes the pass to Steve Kerr for the game-winning shot, right? What it would eventually be the game-winning shot. And Jordan knew, based upon how John Stockton played him the previous game coming off of Steve Kerr, where the double team was going to be coming from, because he'd seen it before. Right. And so my point with talking about Jabari is if you see it early enough in the game, this is how they've been scouting to play Jabari in this scenario. Cool. Show us early so we can adjust late. So when I come back to this late game, if I need a bucket, okay, cool. We're just going to give it to Jabari. In this case, we know likely where the double team is going to come from, so we know how to play off of that double team. But if you wait too late in the game, you don't have enough time to adjust to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, I like the direction that Jabari Smith is going, and hopefully the other players get out of stand and watch mode with him now that he's starting to score more, and not feel like we're just going to give it to him and let him do his thing. Or feel like, all right, cool, Jabari's got his, let me go get mine. Figure out a way to be more harmonious and synchronous around what he's doing, and you have a really dangerous team.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Are some of your breakdowns going to involve Jabari? I'm pretty sure you're going to do some of the. Yeah, okay. So I'm eager to see.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this real? Did they actually pull this game off?
Oh, wow.
I just talked about before we went live. I was like, oh man, they're giving them a tough game right now. Like, I haven't looked at the score, but Lisa Wise said they just got the upset. This will be their second top 25 win this season.
65-60.
This will be their second top 25 win this season. They beat Tennessee already, and now they've just beaten Georgia.
Wow. No, that's awesome. Awesome. We talked about the good. We talked about Jabari Smith and his pretty amazing day. Let's get to some of the bad. The bad being that outside of Jabari Smith, and Mike mentioned one guy already, Walker Kessler and KD were the only other players in double digits in terms of scores, scoring 11 and 12 respectively. A quote from Bruce Pearl after the game basically saying we relied too much on Jabari. He also went on to say that we're best when everyone contributes, and that just wasn't the case today. And one of the things that I want to point out, and I'll start with you, Mike G, is a big stat of this game is that of the 62 points that Auburn scored, only 9 of those points came from its bench. And so when you think about games in which Auburn has been very successful, Auburn's got a lot of production because of the rotations we're playing. We're getting a lot of production in terms of points from the bench. And on the road, thank God Jabari went off, because this game could have been a lot uglier if there was no other production coming from anywhere else. Talk to me about how critical it is, in starting with Wendell. He only had 5 points in this game. How critical it is for our bench to be able to be productive and help our starters in games like this.
Well, you mentioned Wendell, 2 for 10 shooting. Yikes. right? Like, I mean, let's just be clear, he didn't have a good game. And he's not the reason we lost.
No.
So I want anybody to hear that. I don't, no one player is the reason we lost. But certainly, if he's his normal self, Auburn wins this game easily. They didn't have a good night. That's going to happen. Players are going to have off nights.
Right.
As far as KD is concerned, this is a few bad games in a row for him. And I'm starting to wonder. I know everybody loves crazy KD, but I wonder if what's going on with him is mental. Right. He seemed to he showed some frustration a couple games ago, fouling, a lot of frustration fouls. He's I don't know that he's playing differently. I can probably opine on this a little bit more than me. Like, I don't know that he's playing differently, but it just seems like something's off there. And he's forcing a little bit too much, over dribbling the ball. He's not in good space right now. And so for an Auburn team where all we've talked about is how strong the bench is, we get so much production from the bench. We did not get that in this game. There were times during the game, I know Cardwell went 1 for 5. For a big man, sometimes when he catches the ball in the low block, have just not been super impressed with his ability to be able to go straight up with the ball. It seems like he is very indecisive and unsure. He'll catch a rebound, bring the ball down here instead of just going straight back up with it. Like I've not been super impressed with Cardwell. He does give maximum effort, but I think we lack something from a scoring standpoint when Cardwell's in the game. And Flanagan, man. No, we're talking about the bench. I think Flanagan should be on it. And
well, I guess this is your answer to SS Austin's question. Does anyone else think Cambridge should play more than Flanagan?
Man, it's tough, man. Listen,
so are you saying, is that a yes for you?
I've been giving him some slack because of the injury, but remember what I said. Everybody has said, "Oh, we haven't played a full game yet. We haven't played a complete game yet." Well, God, we're almost at the end of the season. I think there are 4 or 5 more games left in the season.
4.
If we have not played a complete game yet, we may have to start bracing for the possibility that they might not the rest of the season, and we're gonna have to win these games with defense. So Flanagan, I'm losing hope that he has a breakthrough this season, and they have to find a way to get him to contribute while minimizing, I don't want to say damage, but minimizing what you lose while he's on the floor. They looked kind of unfocused to me Saturday. They're throwing the ball out of bounds, like just to the 6th row of the stands, and that's the ugly part. We'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get a lot out of the bench, and that's it. And it was still a 1-point loss. Yeah. So that's my glass half full. Is that we kind of beat ourselves more than they beat us. That's how I saw that game. Auburn beat themselves. 17 turnovers. 17 is not good. That's not typical for this team. Zep Jasper didn't contribute offensively at all in this game. He took 1 shot. He's an underrated 3-point shooter, I think, as well too. It just seemed like, and then last but not least, Bruce Pearl took responsibility for not calling the timeout on the last play. He said that Florida didn't play it the way they didn't overplay it the way he thought they would. He should have called the timeout and they should have reset. Instead, he let the play run, and Wendell got in there. And I bemoan this in football and in basketball. Hear me out. Again, Ike's the basketball guy, so he can definitely take me to town on this one if I'm wrong. But the situational awareness at the end of the game, you got 7 seconds left. So it just occurs to me, if you're going to inbound to the backcourt, that there's got to be a clock in your head to make a decision, commit to an action. So after 3 seconds, you're either finding the open man or you're pulling up. So when he gets to the 3-point line, and there was a picture circulating of a potential lob he could have made to Kessler over the top.
Wait till y'all see my video tomorrow.
Right. I mean, and I was just kind of like, oh man, like how experienced point guard has to be able to do better than that in that situation. Now, he's not the reason we lost the game. I'm not stressing, because there were tons of, when you lose by a point, there are tons of moments during the game that you can pick to say, hey, if we had done this, we could have won the game. It's just easy to single out the last play.
Kessler went 0 for 2 on his free throws.
Yeah, I mean,
and both of those 2 free throws were like in the last 3 minutes. So
yeah,
I mean, if we want to pick a reason, I mean, you have options. So,
yeah,
we're not picking on any one player. But continue.
But winning the tournament, as we've seen year in and year out, can be about those plays that are made in the last 10 seconds of a game. God, we saw, what was it, Villanova, North Carolina, that epic ending that we saw at the end where, you just have to, the guy caught the ball and he committed to a decision. They passed and they left enough time. Now, there were so many things that happened on that last play. Ike is going to give you guys the visualization. But in the last minute of the game, we wasted 10 seconds letting Florida run around with the ball, and I was screaming at my monitor, foul. Like, you can't let them run time off the clock, and they burnt another 10 seconds off the clock in the last 30, and I just didn't understand. I'm like, how do our players not understand the situation here? As soon as that ball was inbounded, now they went for the steal, but once you don't get it, foul somebody. And we let too much time go by there, and that could have been extra time where, remember, now we're down by one. So if you foul and they go hit 2 free throws, you're still only down by 3, but you have more time on the clock to hit a 3 or do whatever you need to do. I just thought, man, I did not like the way that last sequence played out. And a lot of people played a role in why that looked so chaotic. It just looked disjointed. Now, this isn't the end of the world. At the end of the day, we're 24-3. This team's having a great season, or whatever we are in 3. We've only lost 3 games. And
we were predicted to finish 5th, remember?
Yeah, I mean, they're having a great season, guys. But this is something I hope they get worked out, because you will inevitably be in this sort of dogfight come tournament time. And you got to have your ducks in a row in the last minute of the game. So learning for Bruce, I like that Bruce Pearl took responsibility for the end of the game. I love that about this coach. He very rarely throws his players under the bus, and he just says, I could have prepared them better for that moment. I could have called the timeout. This is not the first time he's talked about his own usage of timeouts in the final minute. So the bench has got to contribute, and I'll end on this. He said it in the post game. He said, we're at our best when everybody contributes, and not enough guys contributed. And the stats bear that out. Cardwell, 1 for 5. Wendell Green, 2 for 10. KD Johnson, 3 for 8. This game was about Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler. And Walker Kessler, if they had not been calling ticky-tack fouls on him, might have had a greater impact on this game. But they've got to find a way around that too.
Yeah, I think there was I think he received his 3rd call. It was almost under 12 minutes left, and Auburn was kind of in control at that time. And I think that kind of led a rally by Florida when he went out the game.
Yeah, I'm getting real sick of how they're officiating Kessler. Yeah, this is one of the most frustrating things to watch about watching. He does a lot of things really well and gets called fouls. Yeah, I don't understand it. There was another game. It wasn't another play. It wasn't Kessler. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but Jabari Smith had what I thought was a clean block
on Castleton when he
pinned it on the backboard.
Yeah, he got his body though. I'm not mad at that call.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
no, he didn't. Hey, put that in the film review.
Yeah, I'm definitely not mad at that call. Of all the calls in the game, I'm not mad at. It's one
Zep,
that one.
Zep had a clean block too.
Now Zep was clean. Now you're right about that one. You're right about that.
Nobody on the Zep
you're right about that one.
Terrible call. That was a terrible call. That Zep had clean. That was clean.
Yeah, right. I just didn't understand. I just thought I hate blaming officiating, but when we're having an off night, it's difficult to not get those calls or to get those kind of calls called against you. You're on an off night and you're calling fouls on clean blocks.
I can understand KD's frustration at times because again, the foul on Kessler when the guy for, I think it's Fleming, jumped into Kessler to draw contact. Oftentimes they ignore KD when he does that.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's frustrating when you can't get that call, but then your guy is in foul trouble.
KD
because
got the majority of those last night, though. Like he got
did.
a lot of those.
He did.
Drive to the basket, flailing
situations. There's been a lot of calls he hasn't gotten lately, though, up into that game. And so I can understand how he can get frustrated when they go down the field, down the court, and call it on his guy for that same thing. So, real quick, I want to get the Thomas Ponders super chat. Appreciate you, man, for this banner for the locker room. There is no next game after a loss in the dance. I think moving forward, I think Bruce and these guys, they've been here before. They understand the communication with their team in terms of preparing them and learning from these lessons. And again, this could be fuel for the argument that a lot of people say, hey, these are the losses that you may need for teachable moments. Of course, you can always learn from winning games as well. But I think experiencing a loss can motivate guys to not want to feel that or experience that in March. And I think I saw, Mike G, you retweeted yesterday someone's tweet about how Auburn went on an amazing run. I mean, we went through kind of like the Final Four run. We went through a period where we were just losing games, and then we caught fire. And so the hope is that the coaching staff communicates to these guys the importance of what preparing. There's not a next game after the tournament if you lose. They understand the magnitude. So got one more for you guys. Marcus Holland, Mike G, Jabari got him with the forearm to the body. That was clean.
I didn't see it. It wasn't there. If I didn't see it, it didn't happen. I'm sure he got him. It was such an athletic play. It was a very athletic play.
Listen, very athletic play.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
He saved a sure layup or dunk.
Well, it was an amazing play.
And then Castleton missed one of the free throws.
There you go.
Right. So like that is the effort that you want from your superstar guy being like, nah, you're not getting no free buckets, bro. Like that's no free buckets.
No free buckets.
Yeah.
Before we get to the half, Ike, because Mike G alluded to it, you talk about the situational awareness at the end of halves.
Yeah.
That also happened at the end of the first half where there was a lot of
too.
Okay.
It's in the video.
I don't know if you want to say
about it though. Yeah, we can talk about it. The issue that I have with the end of the half scenarios, and I really want to break it down a little bit more. So videos that you're going to see coming up is end of game scenarios. In that video, I talk about the end of the regulation versus Arkansas, the end of the first half at Florida, and the end of the game against Florida. I break down those three scenarios, how those defenses played us. All of those involved a pick and roll scenario with Wendell Green and Walker Kessler, how we ran that set, and then kind of what the results were. You guys know that stuff. But I think the issue for us at the end of the half, number one, Wendell, and I'll talk about this in the video, he's waiting too late to get into his action sometimes. Like, I know he wants it to be the last shot, but I think a lot of the times in those end of games, he's predetermined what he wants to do. And because you wait so late in the clock to get into the pick and roll action, you don't give yourself enough time to adapt to what the defense does that you're not expecting. And when it happens, he's like, oh, that's not what I thought they were going to do. And he gets himself into a bind. So I think he just needs to either go earlier or go more aggressively towards what he knows he needs to do, which is, in my opinion, get downhill. He's not getting downhill. He's settling for long shots in those scenarios or being tentative. And he's got to be more aggressive, and he's got to want to get closer to the bucket to get a more high percentage shot. But listen, it's better that he learns this lesson now than he learns it in March, right? Like, losing a game right now in this way, he's got tape and he can say, all right, cool, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'd rather he get into those moments right now than it happened in March. So I'm not upset at us losing a game at Florida, which was going to be a tough matchup anyway. Tough to, despite what people think about Florida's record, Florida's actually a really good basketball team. Their record doesn't show that, but like, your record doesn't always show how good you are. It shows how well you play moment to moment sometimes. And that's really the issue that we have, is moment to moment in this game. Auburn just didn't show up in the ways that we needed to. But despite all of that, only losing by 1 point shows you what Mike said. We lost this game Florida didn't win it. And Florida fans, Florida play. Okay, so let me just say this:
Appleby, yes,
had an amazing game.
Yes,
amazing game. He was playing his butt off. Castleton and carried them in the first half, but Appleby was the guy to close the door at the end. But gosh, man, just a couple of more plays that were there to be made. This is sound familiar from football season. A couple of plays that were there to be made, and we get this W. Like we had the game there to win. And we just didn't do it. But yeah, I'll get more in depth into like the actual scenarios with that end of half, end of game situation with Wendell and the pick and roll in that video tomorrow.
Well, guys, listen, we're to the halfway point. Please be sure to get the thumbs up, like this video. If you haven't been commenting already, or if you've been commenting, just hit the thumbs up button, like this video, help our engagement. We appreciate it a ton. We're going to pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Rapport.
The War Rapport's Weekend Tailgate Show is brought to you by our generous sponsors. University Ace Hardware, located at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, right across the street from the Auburn Mall and next to the movie theater. For all of your hardware needs, Ace is the place. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Hey, become a patron. So this is a great way to support our content. You heard Ike talking about the basketball content. He's going to drop this week. It's going to be some unique stuff, but it's going to be patron only. So you got to be a patron to partake in this. So there's some things that are family only. This is going to be one of them. And once you guys see this, I think you're going to be really happy what we're doing with the dollars you guys are paying every month. So become a patron, partake in that. That puts you in an exclusive club of people that will only be able to see this. Please don't screen record. We won't like that. But we're also supporting the Lee County Humane Society. Please help us support them. You can find the link to this in the About section of our YouTube channel. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them to help them in their mission to #save all the puppies. So help us help them. Donate today. We really appreciate you guys. They're a really important part of the Auburn community. We're giving away a hoodie. #get your weight up in the comments. This is sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That's our guy, Walt Taylor. Get in this at the 1 hour mark. We're going to pull, but you got to be here to win. So stick around. We're going to pull for that in just a little bit. If you don't win, you can always just buy some merch. So visit our merch store. This is in the About section of our YouTube channel, or you can just go to thewarreport.com. Check out all the fly merch we are dropping there for you guys. Want to acknowledge our sponsor, Prize Picks. So really unique way to get in on the game, watching a little bit of a different way and with some money. So we drop a Prize Pick segment before every single basketball game. Ike is doing this. He's kind of walking you through how to do this, what we're betting on. You don't have to do exactly what he does, but it is a really good tutorial on how to use prizepicks.com. prizepicks.com, use code rapport, and you will get 100% match if it's your first time signing up. So put in 50, they'll give you 50, and you'll have 100. We're doing like $10, $15 bets.
Yeah, I think 20 is what with the standard thing that we're doing. And hey, listen, I won the last two. So if you taking my advice, you would have gotten you a few dollars back, is all I'm saying.
Exactly. So prizepicks.com, use code rapport to get in on that. Guys, we're on podcasts. Check us out on every single podcast platform. We're dropping more content. As Ike mentioned earlier, we had our first podcast exclusive drop this weekend. So go check that out. We're going to be dabbling in that arena a little more as time goes on here.
I think we should start a hashtag Ike is right. Hashtag Ike is right when we do Prize Picks. You know what I'm saying? Follow Ike,
Hey,
so
hey,
just saying.
I'm trying to get you a little money is all I'm trying to do.
And we appreciate you for that, man. We also appreciate SS Austin with his super chat. His question is, do y'all think our guards are a little selfish? I feel like in some points in the game when we desperately need points, when we'll shoot a logo 3 as an example. What are you guys' thoughts about this?
I think selfish is the wrong word. I do think that, we've already used the correct terminology, I think, which is situationally aware. I think our guards, and we've been talking about this really all season, have to be able to take those shots to make those shots. And they make those shots sometimes. And so, like, when it's beautiful. Oh, man, did y'all see that deep three Wendell took in the game? Looks beautiful when he makes it, but then he misses it. It's like, why are you taking that shot? Sometimes it's ill-advised, right? But, like, he has the confidence to take that shot and knows he can make it. He just has to make it more often than not in order for people to not be upset about it. Can we have better guard play? 100%. I don't think that it's debatable as to whether or not the guards could play better. But I don't know that selfish is the right word, right? Like, I think the right word is they just need to be more aware of scenarios and ways that they can get themselves into the game offensively that don't include long threes in Wendell's case, or don't include, shake and bake pull up threes in KD's case, right? Zep Jasper offensively has been non-existent for the vast majority of the season, right? Like, he's scored in double digits maybe twice this year. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. He's not really an offensive threat, though he can shoot the ball fairly well. And that's another thing I want us to be able to do, is find ways to get the guys in a space where they're comfortable. If Zep is as good a three-point shooter as he displayed at the College of Charleston, why is he not shooting that well at Auburn? I think it's situational. We have to put him in scenarios that allow him to be able to utilize that that talent for him. This is a good word to use right here, John. They need to be a little more disciplined. I like the word discipline. It's discipline in certain scenarios that I think is a good way to talk about it. It's definitely not, they're not good shots by any stretch of the imagination. But I wouldn't say that they're selfish. I just think it's a lack of discipline in certain spaces that, young basketball players have to grow to it sometimes.
Yeah. And a part of it too is one of the things that you helped me to understand, because I hated it at times earlier in the season. But I understand this is how these guys play to a degree. And so to an extent, even though there's opportunity for growth and being more disciplined, you kind of have to take the good with the bad in some points with their game. And I think what makes it even worse is that sometimes when there's a run that the other team is going on, these guys have a tendency to press. Mm-hmm. And that's when you see these types of shot selections happen, which makes it even more of an eyesore because there's a lot at stake in that moment. Yeah. And these guys just trying to play their game, doing what they normally do to get us back in the game. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
So I think we have to keep that in mind with how these guys play. And I think, Ike, you did a good job of helping me to see that. I don't freak out as much as I used to when I used to see some of these shots, because I know this is what these guys have done. And for the most part, I'll say, oh my God, he made it.
Yeah.
I don't even really flip out because usually it will go in. Jazzy Joe says, War Eagle, did I pay the assist challenge for the Vandy game?
We haven't had this is the first live since the Vandy game, right?
Yes.
So yeah, hadn't had an opportunity to.
He hasn't had an opportunity to. So, let the Lord use you. It is Sunday, Jazzy. just FYI there. Let's continue to talk. Mike G already alluded to this. We talked about the good, which was Jabari, the bad, which it was just Jabari at times, outside of Kessler and KD. But let's talk about the ugly. I look at the stat for this game, and Auburn actually shot better from field goal, better percentage than Florida. They shot Florida 40 to Florida's 36. Yeah. Auburn actually, when we talk about shot selection, they actually did a decent job in shot selection from three-pointers in this game. They only shot 14 of them. They didn't jack up a lot of threes, hit 5 of them, shot 35%. In some games in the past, they were shooting under 30% from three. Free throws, 17 of 20. 85%, out rebounded Florida by 11. If I gave these stats to you, you would have thought Auburn clearly won this game. But the stat of the game, University Ace Hardware tool to the game.
Yeah, facts.
Turnovers.
So listen,
There's
I
no
don't care
other.
what
There's no other
anybody
tool.
wants to say about late game, this and this and that. The thing that screwed Auburn the absolute most, Mike already talked about it, is launching the ball into the fifth row like 4 times.
Yeah,
right.
I was like,
literally.
what the heck is this crap?
And in a game that you lose by a point.
1.
Yeah,
right.
like
4 times. It was just like I was just like, where was this pass intended to? I don't even understand.
And that happened a few times.
I just like
let me ask this question.
Did they become quarterbacks for Auburn all of a sudden? Like, why are you overthrowing everything?
Bruce Pearl has talked a lot about fatigue before the last, like, I forgot which game it was. He said they weren't even going to practice between games because the team was just so tired. This has been such a grind, the mental grind of being number one. I'm sure those guys start to feel the weight of that pressure. And it's not like football where you have a week no matter what.
Right.
It's a quick turnaround on a lot of these games. So you play on Saturday and sometimes you're in as soon as Tuesday playing another game. So if you get a little banged up or, I don't know, I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking, is it possible this team is just kind of tired? Are they tired?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility with the way that the focus is happening with the turnovers. Again, I think so. This kind of circles back to my last point about how people play ball, right? Like if you are a KD Johnson who is just like, a bull in the china shop downhill type of guy, and you get your points in the way that he scores them, when you're tired, those shots tend to not be makes more often than not. You're not going to be able to get the lift necessary to take the contact and still be able to make the shot. If you're tired and you're Wendell and you go through a 2-game stretch where you're playing 30 some minutes because Zep Jasper's not there, and you're coming off of a knee injury, really, like we forget that that Wendell hurt his knee before he had to go play those long stretches in games, and your legs aren't where they used to be, your jump shot's not going to fall like it was supposed to, right? Like it is a possibility that fatigue is starting to set in, not just physically, but mentally for this team, putting up with the weight of expectations of being this national title contender front runner. That's 100% a possibility. If you recognize that from either a coaching standpoint or from a point guard and coach on the floor standpoint, you need to figure out different ways to get in and out of your offenses. Don't continue to press. Pressing more when you're fatigued leads to more mistakes.
Sure.
You have to play smarter when you're tired.
I think oftentimes too, it was my guess was communication. I think there was times where guys was expecting their teammate to be in one position and they expect one guy to cut and the guy didn't. They expect the guy to stay where he was and then he would cut. Like it just seems like we were out of sync with some of these turnovers. And so I think what we saw at the beginning of the game, especially, was just these guys having to get on the same page with what they were doing on offense. And so I think that was a big cause. I mean, again, I can't explain the Hail Mary to the fifth row in the stands. I can't explain that. That's inexcusable. But I could visibly see Wendell get frustrated when he expected. I think it was Zep Jasper to make a cut to the basket on the fast break.
Yeah,
and he didn't.
Zep went to the corner, and Wendell thought he was going to cut to the goal.
That's communication to me.
Yeah.
And so these guys got to get on the same page when it comes to that. And I think that's what we saw a lot of.
There was one with Flanagan as well, too, where he was expecting somebody to cut and they didn't cut. And he just threw the ball to the baseline, essentially. But I'm just wondering, again, if the mental fatigue is starting to wear down on these guys.
It's possible.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't take that. Listen, when you are the hunted, you're literally taking everybody's best shot every single game. It's different, bro. Like I don't care.
The second time they've rushed the court after beating us.
Yeah. It's just different, man, because everybody gets up for that game, and I think that was historically a
historic game for I don't know. I think that's the highest ranked opponent they've beaten.
I think it was only the second time that they beat a number 2 ranked team in like the history of their
So it was a big deal in that regard for them. So I mean,
listen, we haven't played well at Florida in a while, so let's
we haven't won there in 19 years.
But they showed the last game we were one game we was there. We lost by 20. I think it was 2020.
Yeah. Also, despite the gravity of the game being the unranked Florida versus number 2 Auburn, they're fighting for their tournament lives right now.
Sure.
This is a team on the bubble. So there was a lot of incentive for them to go out there and win this game and try to make a statement. And they're still on the bubble, even after winning that game.
Right.
So, we are a resume. I want everybody to hear this. Auburn basketball is a resume builder for teams playing us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a resume builder. So 3 teams get to claim that they bolstered their resume by beating us, right? UConn, Arkansas, and now Florida.
Yeah, Arkansas is back in the top 25 because of a win against Auburn.
Right. If it's a big win for you, it solidifies what we are in college basketball this year.
Yeah.
Right. So make up your mind, people, about what this is. Are we overrated? Or did you beat a nobody?
Yeah, that's what that's just weird to me. Like, why are you rushing the court for an overrated team? Like, I just don't get that. Like, if we're overrated, then just go home. You're supposed to win that game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, agreed. Arkansas fans, I mean, they were insufferable.
I can't wait. I can't.
Oh man,
wait.
they're starting to become my new most hated fan base.
If we see them again, like I'm looking forward to that game.
Meet me outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Catch me in these streets, partner.
Send me the Addy.
It's on site.
We will definitely slide.
We'll catch them again. It's on site. So I know I'm Kyle, you just dumb. But I think this game is, I don't know that we needed this. And somebody asked Bruce Pearl that after the game.
Yeah.
About the idea that Auburn needs to lose and get it out of their system. And he answered that question emphatically. Yeah. He said, I don't know who's saying that, but that's, and these weren't his words, these are mine, but that's stupid. All right. We just got to play and we got to win, which is where I've been at. So.
Yeah. Well, he gave a great analogy for the scenario that we're in. I can't remember whether it was the pregame or the postgame, saying like, the test is, it's 5 games to win the tournament. Can you close 5 straight games, taking everybody's best shot? And, the answer to that right now is no, they haven't been able to do that. But it is a place where he is putting them in the mindset of, hey, guys, this is exactly what the tournament's like. The only difference is you lose there, you don't get to come back and play another game. So you need to play these last 5 games of the season the way you're going to play in March. So I think Bruce has the team in the right space. Coach Pearl is doing a great job to mentally prepare them for what's coming. But again, it's tough. It's tough winning. Basketball games are hard to win just in general because literally anybody can just randomly catch fire. They're all collegiate athletes that are on scholarship for a major program. Like, forget what you think about, how good a team, but they're on scholarship at a college basketball school for a reason. These dudes can hoop, right? Like Scottie Pippen Jr. is no slouch, right? Like, he ain't just some bum that walked off the street. Like, I get what Vanderbilt's record is. Scottie Pippen Jr. can hoop. And if he goes crazy on you in a game where he's hitting everything,
like he did,
you might lose that game.
Wednesday.
Right. Yeah. You just might lose that game because he went. If Appleby catches fire from 3 randomly in the late second half of a game,
5 of 10 in that game,
you could lose. And that's not because you're not a good basketball team and they're not a good it's just, hey man, this dude, he was hooping that day. Because the difference, honestly, if we like to do these comparatives in football where, hey, this quarterback played better than this quarterback. It was the production they got from Appleby versus the production we got out of our point guard positions. Is really, if you wanted to compare the two, he was effective in the spaces where he had opportunities to get buckets. None of our point guards were.
Right. You think about the Arkansas game. Same thing.
All right.
They got production from their point guard. They were hitting shots.
And that's the difference in the bench scoring, really. It comes down to whether or not Wendell is going to give us points, Jalen is going to give us points, and Cambridge is going to give us points. You look at the stat line for those 3 guys from this game, it was like 5 points between the 3 of them?
I think Jalen and Cambridge had 2 points each, and Wendell had 5. Total of 9 points.
7. You said 2 points each, so 9. 9 points collectively between those 3 guys, and those are the guys that are typically scoring off of the bench for Auburn. So that's the difference in wins and losses, is the productivity really of those 3 people. Now, the question about whether Flanagan should go to the bench and Cambridge should come and start again, I don't know how much that does. The only reason I would say yes, maybe, but you'd have to refigure your rotations out is because Flanagan is a secondary ball handler, right? He can be another ball handler. Now, I'm not saying he needs to be running point because he's just not there yet with his ability to handle the ball, but he is someone who can at least relieve some pressure if they want to press early, because Zep Jasper's not that dude, right? Like, he's going to be their starting point guard. He's going to be able to but starting early, figuring out how to get your offensive flow a little bit better is the other big issue for Auburn. Like, we've got to start games better so that we don't put ourselves in this deficit. And you want to talk about the fatigue. A lot of energy is expended trying to come back in games. You're like putting a bunch of pressure on yourself to try to lock down every possession. And because it becomes so much more critical because you've put yourself in this hole. You start a little bit better, then you can save some of that for late game. So I know there's work to be done. We are not playing like a national title team right now, a national championship contending team right now. But there's a lot of basketball left to be played in this season, even though it doesn't seem like it. And we still have the SEC tourney to figure out some of this stuff. So hopefully we can close the season out with W's, regardless of how ugly they are, claim that regular season title, and then get into playing some better basketball as we get into the tournament.
Thanks.
And we'll question about that as well. Jazzy Joe, appreciate you, man. Says praise the Lord and pass.
Pass the damn ball.
Yes, pass the ball for sure. And again, it goes back to Bruce's point of getting people involved in the offense. Again, I mean, that's true of most teams, but we're unbeatable when we get a lot of guys involved, to where it's not just one or two guys beating the other team. So James Barnett says, could it be that our slow start in first half of games contributes to pretty much what you nailed it. Overexertion in the second half, which may contribute to sloppy play at times. Very, very likely. I would like to see Auburn do a better job of starting fast in games. But you talked about finishing strong. Auburn hopefully getting a number 1 seed and finishing out. Are you concerned about how Auburn will play on the road against, let's say, a Tennessee who's also playing with a lot of a sense of urgency as of late? Like, what are your thoughts about that as Auburn goes into this week?
Yeah, I was always concerned about the Tennessee. The two games that I had circled a long time ago was on the road against Florida and on the road against Tennessee. The Arkansas game was one I expected a tough fight. I thought we were going to come out with a victory there. But these were the two games that I was the most concerned about, because I know the talent that is on those basketball teams, and it being a road game was going to be a lot. Can we win both of those games? We definitely could have won Florida last night. Or yesterday afternoon, and we definitely can win against Tennessee, but we can't, if we get off to a slow start, hear me right now, we get off to a slow start against Tennessee, it's going to be bad. Tennessee's a better basketball team than Florida, and they're playing better basketball right now than Florida has been of late. We get off to a slow start against Tennessee, this might be the first ugly loss of the season.
Right.
And we've had a bunch of close losses. This might be the first ugly loss if we get off to a slow start against Tennessee. We're going to have to play better early against that team, take their crowd out of it, and make them have to be the ones playing frenetic and losing a lot of their steam because they're trying to keep up with what we're doing.
Now, you have made mention of, does Tennessee have tall guards? Do we know?
Actually, their point guard, I think, is like a 6'2" guy. I don't really.
I know you mentioned how sometimes that can kind of throw off the rhythm in the play of our guards when they match up against taller guards.
Yeah, I think the issue for me when I talk about the tall guard situation is us defending them. Like, we don't defend well against tall guards. B and I were having actually a small debate about this in our internal chat about me saying something about tall guards. I don't think the issue is how the tall guards defend us. I think it's more how our inability to stop tall guards from just being able to get buckets, right? Zep Jasper is a really great on-ball defender, but a tall guard just going to rise up over the top of him if he wants to shoot the ball. And so if you have a really tall guard or a guy who's able to handle the ball, it's harder for us to defend against that guy and really bother their ability to get into whatever set they want to, especially when it's Wendell. Wendell is a good defender. He's not an elite defender. So if you want to shut down their offense and a tall guard can just see over the top of that, it's going to be difficult for us to really play defensively the way that we need to.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely.
Said Ziegler is 5'11", says Corey Weber. So he's not a super tall guy. They're starting PG. So
I agree with you though that Auburn needs to start fast in this game,
or at least match it, right? Like they can't get into 10, 12 point deficit early in this one. I don't think.
Yeah. Agreed. How do we feel about Auburn? And we haven't talked much about. I mean, Tennessee is 6 days away, but Auburn does face Ole Miss at home. How do we feel about this game and how they play? The Auburn gets another win under their belt. How do we feel about this game?
I think it could go either way, honestly. Not because Ole Miss is so great, but there are definitely some things to figure out here at the end of the season. And they've got to figure out how to establish an offensive flow in the first half. Really boils down to that. I mean, we're leaning on defense, but I think people need to start to accept that the identity of this team is defense. The 2019 team was lights out shooting. Sure. That was that. And they hustled. And it's not that they didn't play defense, but that wasn't really their identity. They literally would pass up open layups to shoot threes. That's just who they were. And Bruce Pearl had those guys embrace that season. I think it was in the SEC championship versus Tennessee. One of the greatest calls in an Auburn game ever was Dick Vitale. And what's the kid's name? I always forget his name. The point guard from that season.
Jared Harper.
Jared Harper is got a wide open layup. And he dishes it to Bryce Brown, and Dick Vitale is like, they love the three. And then he shoots it, hits it, and the other guy goes, bang, right? And I was like, yo, they just passed up a wide open layup for a 3-point shot, and it worked, and the bench and the crowd were going crazy, and they just knew who they were as a team offensively.
Yeah.
This team is something different, man. It's defense, and it's a little scary because, when you can, I think we played good defense in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But again, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I feel like when you are not getting the calls like from the officiating, sometimes it can affect the way you play defense more than the way you play offense.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, so it's tough.
Which is why I thought Colin Castleton's a really good basketball player, and I apologize for cutting you off. But I thought it was particularly BS of him to do the whole thing, the thing where they'd be like, point, put their hand down to the ground like you too little against when he made that bucket late against Walker Kessler. Walker wasn't trying to block the shot. He was
trying to stay out of foul trouble.
He's trying to stay out of trouble. So he's not he's just standing there with his hands up. He's not too little for you, bro. Calm down. Like Colin Castleton's good, but I need you to settle down, sir. Like I get it, but that was not a mano Walker Kessler's trying to block your shot and you made a good shot against him. Like that
was really a trash broadcast on all the way around. I did not enjoy watching that game. From the time the game started, he's got that look in his eye. Like what? Like what? Like are you? I don't know. Yeah, I thought maybe they had something going on because I was like, you talking a lot about his eyes. And then it was. They were really trying to get us to believe that he was going to be. And I think he had a decent game, but that game was more about what Auburn didn't do than it was about anything anybody on Florida did. 17 turnovers, a lot of them unforced.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were out just forcing turnovers. We were throwing the ball away.
Yeah.
And I just give Florida credit, man. They defended their home court, certainly. But the way they were painting that, I just didn't like it. I didn't think
you're not wrong. The broadcast was terrible.
It was trash broadcast, man. It was trash commentating. It was I get it. Like, when they're enamored with when they're enamored with a player, even when they do it for us, right? Sometimes when we're watching, was it TJ Finley? Oh, he's 6'7". He's 6'7". He's 6. Okay, we get it. He's 6'7". Can we stop talking about that?
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I didn't know that. So I needed to hear that.
Hold on. Were you aware that Jabari Smith Sr. played at LSU?
No.
I don't know if y'all
No. Did you know that Walker Kessler's dad played at Georgia?
Bro, get some new talking points.
Did you know that Alan Flanagan's dad coaches for Auburn?
We need a Captain Obvious segment on the show. Did you know? Talk about what the announcer said. It was obvious as hell. Yeah,
it's not even that they point it out. It's that it gets pointed out in every game, and they mention it multiple times in that game. It's like if it were the first time you said it or the first time you heard it, be like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. All right, cool.
We started something new in the comments. Did you know that Bo Nix is Patrick Nix's son? What? Did not know that.
Did you know Jarrett Stidham?
That's why they keep showing. I didn't know why they kept showing them.
Jarrett Stidham was a transfer. He used to be he was in Texas before he played at Baylor before he got to Auburn.
Did you know that Walker Kessler came from UNC? I didn't know that.
What?
What? This is gonna be great. And we accidentally started a new thing, right? Like,
I love it.
So we're gonna have that. We're gonna have that session after all the next lives for Wednesday. Come prepared with your did you knows.
It's so ridiculous though. Like they repeat the same stuff over, and it's
like, can we get a good one?
Did you know that Jabari is related to Kwame Brown?
Yeah, right. All right, can we get a graphic with the more you know star? And
we do need seriously. Seriously,
we need that. We need that for Wednesday.
That's hilarious, bro.
Let's get this super chat and we can get to this giveaway. Jazzy Joe says, Ike, you a betting man. Would you bet on Auburn winning out the regular season, or would you bet we don't? I'll bet the opposite. I think
we're gonna lose one more.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
but we still
be clear. B Will is the betting man. Ike is not. I am a
B Will is the betting man.
Yeah, but B Will is the betting man. I know I do the fantasy pick segment, but B Will is really the betting man of the group. But I still think that we lose one more game.
Jazzy says, I'll put up 300 if you put up a free t-shirt.
Oh, that's easy. No, done.
So Auburn actually went, because see, even with one more loss, Auburn still wins out because
they win the SEC, because it's they have a tiebreaker. But yes, so we got the half game scenario with Kentucky.
Okay. So if they win out,
if they win all the games, we owe Jazzy a t-shirt. If they lose at least one more, Jazzy owes us 3.
Okay. 300.
Kind of conflicted on the outcome of this.
Right.
Okay. Let's get to the giveaway. Speaking of giving away some free, it's that time.
Yeah. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Get in on this. We are giving away a Lobtown hoodie.
You know what it is.
Egyptian cotton. You need it in your life. If you've never had Egyptian cotton, it's very pliable and flexible. You can wear it at any occasion, those formal occasions in your life where you just need to be comfortable. Lobtown hoodie, highly recommended. Definitely won't make anybody mad at a wedding. Hashtag
comfortable and formal occasion. I've never heard those two in a sentence, but go off.
Hashtag get your weight up here. We got 55 people in. We should get a little bit more. It's a slow Sunday, man. After we lose.
Oh yeah, people are like, I don't want to talk about anything.
Yeah,
if there's no football news and a basketball loss, people are just like,
yeah, all right.
Auburn.
Yes. So hashtag get your weight up. We're gonna roll it here in a second. I don't think we're gonna give it much longer today.
Nah. Wait till we get this. Think we can get 60? At least
maybe.
60.
That'd be about half the turnout for right now.
I think we could get to 60.
Yeah, 57.
I don't know. It's kind of slow.
Yeah. While we're waiting though, did you know? Just kidding. Because that's really what it is. They're just trying to fill time to talk, but it's like I don't know, partner. He looks like Colin Castleton's got that look in his eye tonight. He's got the look of a guy. He's got the look.
Oh my God.
He's looking like a guy who could look at people. Just like, yo, calm down.
Calm down, 60.
Bro. Let's get to it, man.
Who's it gonna be today?
Who we got?
Steve Bradley just went by him.
Oh!
What?
It happened. It happened. It happened. Let's go. I don't even care if he's not here. I know he's here. He's getting it regardless.
You know, right before it hit.
Yes. Oh,
not anymore.
Yo. That's crazy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And Lawrence being a hater.
We've been talking about this shit for a year.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
That's
hilarious.
I'll cry.
That is amazing, bro.
Congratulations, good sir.
This might be the greatest day of my life.
You already know
what
what
I'm
to do.
Yeah. Text me. We got Corey. We didn't have to put up the graphic.
Oh man, this actually made my day. Congratulations, Corey, man.
Hey, that is definitely a fact there, Ben. It's the end of an era.
It is. It could no longer. We got to move on. I'm kind of sad now. Am I the only one that's sad that he won?
We got to pick a new person.
We have a new person.
Corey has to nominate another person to be that guy who's never won. Now, Lawrence Lawrence won?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Lawrence is won. Yeah.
Yeah, he said. I think
Apocalypse
he says,
is not. Oh dear. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh God.
Ooh.
Hilarious.
Oh dear.
Hilarious.
I am dead. You know what?
You heard it from Corey. He says, I nominate Lawrence. He nominates Lawrence. So Lawrence is the next guy. According to when Lawrence, that has to be a thing. Whoever wins finally has to nominate the next person who hasn't won. I like this. I like where we're going.
True.
I like where we're going with this. Guys, let's talk about an interesting photo of some activity.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Before we get to that.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah,
that's why it's three of us.
After all that laughing, I'm gonna calm down.
We need to chill. How do we do that?
We do that.
Bro,
This segment of the War Report is brought to you in part by RogueShop.com.
If you're in need of high-quality, all-natural herbs and extracts that contribute to a happy, healthy lifestyle, the Rogue Shop is the place for you. With a variety of products that contribute to a healthy sleep, lower stress, and a happy mood, the Rogue Shop has you covered. Visit them at DRogueShop.com and use code RAPPORT today. Tell them the War Report sent you.
So while we were on that commercial, I actually had a gummy, so I'm back to normal. Fast acting. As with any, go support Rogue Shop. That's our guy Richard. He's doing a great job over there. A big supporter of our channel. So he's selling CBD products and Delta 8 gummies. As with anything, please be aware of what you're putting in your body, but it is legal in all states. So check them out for some good products here. We've got
please use code RAPPORT.
Yes. They have to know. They have to know that you came. Yeah, they have to know that you came from us. And this is how we keep our sponsors on board. So I know Stuart Donald had ordered some stuff and he was excited about. And a few of you have hit me up on social media about your Rogue Shop order. So let's keep that coming. Just once a month, go to them and pick up a little something. They've got some great stuff for sleep as well, too. So full spectrum CBDs and things of that nature will definitely help you get a good sleep. Go check them out.
Indeed. So what's this backstory on on the football team? They went paintball. They went shooting paintball.
Yeah, it sounded like a little team building that was going on.
Yeah.
This weekend.
They did a little team building event over the weekend. Went to go play paintball, and we got a picture of Coach Harson and Derek Hall out there having a good time. I just love this picture though of Coach Harson went all out, man. He's in the fatigues,
commando
with the Auburn thing on the front situation here, and then he's got the paint on his, like he was ready to go out here and do a little paintball, man. So it's interesting having
Like
Coach
somebody
Commando
got him
out
though.
there.
Yeah, he just looks a little too into this, right? Like, I'm watching this picture.
It's
He's
intense.
smiling, but he's like, I'm gonna kill you, right? Like, I don't know, man. This looks like he looks like he's done this before.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he used to do secret ops missions in a previous life or something, or at least he was an extra on a Rambo movie. I don't know which one, but
Derek Hall over here looking like, "Yep, coach, you got him right, right in the forehead." So they had a good time doing some team building out there. I'm happy to see those guys out there bonding with their coach. That's always cool to see in the offseason.
Indeed. Definitely wanted to show you guys that again. It's always great when we see some good positive news. We want to bring attention to that, given how the past few weeks have gone. So,
and listen, by all accounts, the guys had a good time out there. You saw them on social media, kind of talking about it, man. I like the fact that they're finding ways to bond as a team, right? Like just go out, have some fun. This ain't got nothing to do with football. It's still physically active, right? So you're getting some cardio in and all that kind of stuff, but and getting your competitive juices flowing. But an opportunity to bond as a team is always good. Like to see them out there having fun, man. So really great job by the staff putting that together for the team. Because a lot of people don't get to do stuff like that. Like going to play paintball is not something that everybody just gets to go and do all the time. So
I've never done it.
Yeah,
I've never done it. I've only seen videos of it.
I have.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I would say
I wasn't good at it.
Derek Hall looks like he really hates Harson there, right? Like, I think it's really good that the team building beside practice is super important.
Yeah.
And the chemistry off the field that a lot of these players have, this is the way that it's built. And in year one of the biggest things that I think hurt when all this stuff started happening was there wasn't enough of an emotional connection between the fan base and this coach. Right. And this is the part of the job that I think that we're going to see them embrace over this season, which is let us see the fun side of Brian Harson. Just that picture alone shows a different picture of Brian Harson than what has been out there in the media. Right. And people just need to see that. He didn't suddenly invent that, guys. He's always been that guy. Just haven't nobody's seen it. Now it's time for people to see that side of him, and so that we can just start to rally behind this coach, because regardless of whether you wanted him gone or you wanted him to stay, right? You should be rooting for Auburn, which means rooting for the guy in charge. Now, there was an investigation, and nothing terminable was found. So it's time to just move past this and talk about, how can this coach be successful? There are a lot of people focusing on the negatives of what happened. And I think that you can really turn a lot of this into a positive. Recruiting is going to be more difficult now. That's a reality of the situation that we're in. But if you want to turn that around, you have to win on the field. And it doesn't mean we got to go out and have a 10-win season, even though I do think that that's possible. If we get the quarterback right and if the defense holds serve. However, Ike and I Friday we did a special live on Friday for the offensive coordinator, and we went down the schedule and talked about how winnable a lot of these games are. And the only reason to believe that we would do worse is that if you think this team is literally getting worse from season to season, I don't think you can make a plausible case for that this team is worse off with the same offensive line, a new quarterback, but possibly, but I don't think there's anywhere to go but up from quarterback with the guys that we have in our room. I think that will have a net positive effect on the receivers, and that should produce some more wins in 2022. So call it a sunshine pump, call it what you want. I'm just not there. All the gloom and doom that's being preached and pushed by some people in the fan base who would rather see Auburn burn than Harson do well, I can't get on board with it. Right. And I think that watching this man out here playing paintball with his players and putting an emphasis on team building emphasizes that, he is willing to at least make sure the optics around, if not just in functional substance, right, that relationships are there, and that, you know, if your relationships were a problem for him, I mean, I think that this demonstrates an ability to be able to take that constructive criticism and do something about it, rather than just saying, you know, oh, the hell with them, I'm gonna do it my way. Right. You know, a good leader can take a look at his processes and say, hey, you know, we could do this better. The optics around this could be better. And I think that they're making an honest effort to do that. So if I'm a kid and I'm seeing the coach out there playing paintball with his teammates, right? We've seen some stuff like this before. Do you guys remember, I think it was Mark Richt jumping off a high dive into a pool a few years ago?
I don't know if it was a high dive, but it definitely, I remember them having pictures of him, jumping into the water.
Really high up, you know, one of those diving platforms, and the team at the bottom just kind of cheering him on, and it was some kind of thrust exercise or something like that. I think things like that are really, really cool to see a coach do that kind of stuff with their team, you know. And Mark Richt was a good coach, and they won a lot of games with him as head coach. You know, ultimately they made the change. I think it was time for the change, certainly, but that kind of internal culture is what we need here. We need tough. We need tough and disciplined, but not heartless and, you know, no emotion.
Rigid. Yeah.
That's
for
it.
Sure.
Yeah. Discipline does not have to mean rigid and, you know, disconnected.
Right.
I think there's a balance there. I think they're trying to find it. It's a good thing.
Indeed. Big Gap says, nice touch. I see what you did there. Did you know the Rogue Shop is behind Mike G's wall?
They in the kitchen back there cooking up some Delta 8. That's what's back there.
Oh man, guys, let's get to the final part of the show. We're gonna talk about what we actually saw.
What did we see?
I'm going to take a journey outside of Auburn and out of college athletics, and just say that the NBA dunk contest last night was straight trash. And I was looking forward to it because there was a certain guy who was in the contest who at one point was considering Auburn before going to the G League. Mr. Green, if you recall.
Green, yeah.
So I've seen some highlights of this kid in the NBA, and the dude is gifted. The dude got some
he definitely got some bunnies, man.
He's got some serious hops, and he was actually my favorite and didn't quite even get to the last final round. Kept missing, you know, it was one of those things to where you see a guy, you know, you have so many X amount of attempts to make, but then you don't even make the attempt because you can't get the alley-oop right or the toss right to do what you're trying to do, and it just takes the crowd out of it.
Right.
I feel like, and this is just my opinion, it was already mentioned. I think one of the guys mentioned it, who was reviewing, who was looking or commenting on the show, was saying that they need to go ahead and move the 3-point contest to the end.
Yeah.
And I think this is necessary because consistently that actually has been very entertaining. Also, the NBA has changed. It is a shooting league. So now that is what's exciting. And in a contest where you didn't have Steph Curry, you didn't have Klay Thompson, you didn't have KD, you didn't have Dame Lillard, you didn't have some of the guys who you know who are lethal from beyond the arc in the 3-point competition, it was still entertaining. Karl Anthony Towns, a forward, won the 3-point contest. That's just how deep of a league we are in guys who can hit the three. If you want to salvage All-Star Weekend, stop making your headlining event an event that's only not a dud every 3 years. Because it seems like every 3 years we'll get a good dunk competition, and now we spend the next 2 to 3 years waiting for the next one. When consistently the 3-point competition has been pretty decent every year. Make that make that your headlining event, and you can maybe salvage the excitement around NBA All-Star Weekend, or just do something else.
Yeah, I think they just need to do like they need to bring in some of the amateur dunkers from the internet and just let them have maybe just do the NBA versus them or something like that, and do like a team contest. I think that'd be dope, because those amateur dunkers are so super creative.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really not fair, because they're professional dunkers, right? Like if it was an actual game, the NBA players would absolutely destroy them. But I mean, the dunk contest is about dunks, man. Bring people in who are dunkers, and then have a couple of your guys from the league get in it as well. It's just they're stretching for talent to get into the dunk contest, because some of these guys can jump, but they're not really like creative or inventive dunkers.
Right.
It's getting to be where you really know it's only one or two guys who could legitimately win this contest. The rest of these people are fillers, and it makes the first couple of rounds super boring.
Right.
And then, this year I think was a complete dud. So
it had the potential, and I think that's what made it even more disappointing. You had guys who can jump out the building, but no creativity or execution. It was just that you couldn't make it happen. So that's mine there. Who's next? Who else we got?
I'll go next. So looks like the college football playoff is going to remain at 4 teams.
Yeah.
Now, there are a few people holding this up. I don't think they're on the wrong side of this too. And they're holding this up for selfish. Now, the Oklahoma and Texas, the SEC deal, which almost broke college football for a little bit, this is clearly an attempt at slowing the effects of that. I just don't think it's gonna work. And I think that the people who are responsible for holding this up are gonna pay for it down the road. We need to get more teams in here, guys. Like, I like the 14 playoff. I do. I was happy when we expanded from the BCS model, where it just seemed like there was always one team sitting on the outside that really deserved a shot. I don't think that we really, Notre Dame got in. Hold on, wait, who got in last year? This is how much I care about
Cincinnati.
that. Cincinnati was the team, right?
Yeah, Michigan.
Yeah, and it produced two pretty uneventful semi games. Cincinnati was just, you could argue why they should have been in there, but God, it was not a good game. And then look what Georgia did to Michigan, and we ended up at Alabama, Georgia anyway. I just feel like this is not a good thing for college football. We need to expand, give more teams a chance, give more guys something to play for at the end of the season. Give more guys a chance to showcase their stuff against schools that they might not ever play against ever in their college career. And maybe it produces a couple more beatdowns, but like the potential for upsets and just being in it, just making it. I think we have this in other sports. We added wild cards to the NFL playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
A 10-7 Bengals team made the Super Bowl this year. Tell me they didn't look like they belonged.
Yeah.
Why can't college football do this? I don't understand why college football can't do this. So, again, with Oklahoma, and I think this was an attempt to slow down the early exit of Oklahoma and Texas from the Big 12. Probably going to work. But, there were a lot of people who were against or are against that, mainly the Big 12. I know Clemson doesn't particularly like this either. And I just think ultimately they're delaying the inevitable and are going to end up on the wrong side of this. So I'm very disappointed. We're going to have to wait till 2026 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when the contract is up. So
Come on, man. 3 more years, bro. Give me a break. we just get this done now, man. Let's make the game more interesting. You know, you're delaying making common sense changes to the game. For what reason, really?
Right.
It's selfish. I don't like it. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. But for, you know, a few more years of the standard 14 playoff. And, you know, that's a few more years that some guys are just not going to get a chance to display their talents on college football's biggest stage, which is the college football playoff. I'd like to see more teams get in. It's not my fault. It likely means more SEC teams get in. But invest the resources, and it doesn't necessarily change the power dynamic in college football, really. Not from a team perspective, because you still need to hire good coaches, and you still need money, and you know, you still have to be able to develop players. And there are only a few programs doing that on a very high level in college football right now,
consistently.
Yeah. So it's but it does give a chance for somebody to show that they can compete, which might affect recruiting, to say, hey, I can go to a place like, you know, the Cincinnati, for example, and still have a shot to play in the college football playoff. Now, I know they made it this year, but prior to this, man, again, no non-Power 5 team had made it. And it was the perfect storm for them to get in, even. Because if Oklahoma had beat Baylor, they probably would have been in, and Cincinnati would have been out.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like that they're delaying this. I hate good old boy systems, and there's always just one with just enough money to hold up progress. It is. This is holding up progress.
All right. Like, what you got?
I was just going to talk about gymnastics, but since, you know, the women's basketball team got in on the fun, just want to take a little time to talk about how, you know, Georgia broke their football curse and then passed their juju on to the rest of their athletic departments, because their basketball team and men's basketball is garbage. And their women's basketball team, though good, just lost to Auburn. Their gymnastics team just lost to Auburn. They're on a streak here of taking L's to Auburn teams, and I'm loving it.
Well, you know, if you want to count losing KD before all of this happened, then, you know, we can go that too. That's another L.
I am loving Georgia losing stuff. That's always fun to see. Doesn't really matter what it is. They are there are 3 teams that I just enjoy watching lose in everything, and Georgia is one of them. And so it's been good to look at these scores and say, Georgia lost again. Having fun seeing it. So good job, gymnastics. Good job, women's basketball. Thank you for bringing a smile to my face today. Appreciate y'all.
Awesome. Jazzy here says, well, I'll do gymnastics. I saw SUNY do a vault that has never been done in the history of college. War Eagle.
If you haven't seen it, it was impressive. And she was a little wobbly on the landing, but I've never seen anything like that. As soon as she hit the vault, the twist, I was like, well, like, where is this going to end? Is what I was thinking. Where is this going to end? Because I'm always blown away by these gymnasts that do this thing, because after like 2 turns, I'd be so disoriented, it would be a face plant. And for them to be able to control their body in the air the way they do, and then stick the landing, like, wow. I mean, she is out here, and she didn't get a perfect score on that vault. And I think maybe I'm not a gymnastics expert, but like, she didn't get it. I think it was about the landing was the only reason she didn't get a perfect score on that vault.
Yeah.
Right.
But certainly, I think it was a 9.925 that she scored on that vault. And I'm following gymnastics a little bit. We post her post-game pressers up here. It's very uncommon that you get to consistently hear from Olympic gold medalists, but she's having a blast her first year in college with the team dynamic. She talked about how it's different, where a lot of the training she did for the Olympics was singularly focused, and she didn't have to share equipment. And now she's working on a team and cheering on teammates. She talked about focusing on her mental health. This is a young woman, cannot even buy alcohol yet. And she's got full on, sponsor, like she's NIL personified. She came in with sponsorship deals and things of that nature that I wonder how that would have worked pre-NIL with her being, getting sponsorships in right. She would have maybe had to skip college or something. I don't know.
She would have skipped college. She
skipped college, right?
Yeah. She would have. She would have walked back into the United States ready to sign deals, and she wouldn't have been able to issue it. So this allows for athletes like this to get a college experience. So they get a chance to still be kids. Right. They still get a chance. They get a chance to get the collegiate experience and not miss out on all the money that they would have potentially. That's probably, again, the greater good of NIL. I know people hate it for whatever reasons that they feel about how, athletes being paid in the major sports of specifically college football. But these other sports where you have more Olympians that are really just semi-pro at that point in time going in there, they pass up the ability to make money in their collegiate years and get a college experience. They have to choose. Now you have to choose to, I'm either not going to do college and do college athletics and have that experience with my team in that way, or I'm going to forsake making money. Right. Now they don't have to choose. They can.
You don't have to wonder what if either.
And
you able to do both.
You cannot tell me it's not good for college sports to have Suni Lee in college sports now.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is great for college sports.
Like you're going to see the SEC showing, like when they show the conference on those commercials, Suni Lee will definitely be pictured for years.
Yeah, like people are going to make money just off her image being on things, and there is a heightened interest in gymnastics because she is in the SEC. There is a particularly annoying Bama personality on Twitter. I won't say her name because I don't like giving them platforms, but she was making a big deal about some Bama girl who scored higher on her vault than Suni's vault that she tried. And now I think because of Suni, more people are paying attention to gymnastics. Now, this girl who is trying to elevate the Bama girl over Suni, she's not even doing that if Suni doesn't exist. You know why? Because nobody gives a damn about some random Bama gymnast, right? But it's because of Suni. Suni is the draw. She is great for college sports.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And having an Olympian come in and be a freshman in college, and I think she's handling things so well, guys. For her to come up, and this is something that hits, home for me, for her to come out and openly talk about, I have had to work on my mental health since, I've been, at college, I think it highlights all the stresses that high profile athletes have to go through. And she just wants to be a kid at some points, but she's got, sponsor responsibilities and obligations, and she's got to go to class, and she's trying to manage a social life. I think her boyfriend lives across the country and plays football for like USC or UCLA or something like that. And manage a relationship. There's a lot of full grown ass adults who could not handle as much as this child is handling right now. And she's doing it beautifully, I might add. So I'm happy to have her here at Auburn. And we're kind of covering gymnastics. Our guy Lance Daw has been going to some of the meets to cover this stuff for us, and get some footage and jump on the post game. I'm on the gymnastics post game pressers from time to time, just asking. I don't know a ton about gymnastics, but I like asking about the experience, and what it's like for these athletes, because all of her teammates are benefiting from her presence on this team as well. But I think she values them as much as they value her. That's really cool to see. Gymnastics is a really cool thing to see right now. Hashtag everything school.
Absolutely. Well, guys, listen, we thank you. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Mike G, tell people what they need to do. We got a lot coming up this week, per Ike's surprise, about some patron specific content. So you need to become one.
Yeah, become a patron. We're going to be digging into some basketball content here, kind of breaking down plays and highlighting, diagramming things. So get ready for that. Become a patron. It will be patron only. So looking forward to you guys talking about that so that other people know what's coming and they can sign up as well, too. Become a patron to be a part of what we're doing there. We're partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a good cause. You guys know the deal. About section of our YouTube channel, click the link, donate. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them. So I appreciate everybody who's going to go over there and help us help them. Congratulations to our raffle winner. If you didn't win, you can just buy something. This is a great way to support us. Corey. I just blew past that like it wasn't the legend himself. Corey Weber is our winner today. Thanks. Corey's been watching for a long time. Happy to see him finally win one. So you can just go buy it. It's in our merch store. Go to thewarrapport.com. You'll find all our merchandise there. Shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks, prizepicks.com. Use code rapport to make sure that you get that match bonus that they're offering right now. So tournament time is coming. There's going to be lots to do over on Prize Picks. We want you guys to get involved, help us support our sponsors. Guys, we're on podcasts. Check us out on every single podcast platform. The War Rapport is taking over that segment of Auburn media as well. And last but not least, super shout out to our title sponsor, University Ace Hardware. Go check them out at 2101 East University Drive, Auburn, Alabama, right next to the movie theater. They have been on with us since the beginning of the season and stuck with us through basketball season. Our guy, David Fitchner over there, great guy, owns a chain of Ace Hardwares. And so we thank you for coming on as a sponsor as well, too. They've been great partners.
Indeed. Jazzy Joe says the cool thing is that she's going to compete in the Olympics again during her junior or senior year. That's what's really what's going to bring a lot of notoriety. I'm pretty sure you're going to see some AU stuff somewhere in the mix.
Don't graduate early.
I know, right?
I still want her to be in college when she does that. It's going to be very cool.
Take your time with school.
Yeah. So 12 hours a semester. No rush. Make sure she gets a COVID year.
Yeah, right. Guys, thanks again for hanging out with us. Please be sure to get the thumbs up on our videos. Please be sure to share on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Use hashtag Get Your Weight Up. And if you're new to the channel, if you found us through social media and you're new, subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell when we go live. We've been doing that a lot lately. Interact with us on social media, Instagram and Twitter at The War Rapport. We are TW Rapport on the TikTok. That's it for now, guys. We got more amazing content this week, but enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.